Do you ever wonder why some people seem to flip their lives completely, while others work hard but stay stuck? Imagine going from a teenager who couldn't even open a bank account to becoming someone who builds companies worth millions. That shift doesn't happen because of luck. It happens because of choices. The truth is, wealth doesn't come from chasing shiny objects. It comes from building yourself into someone who can create value, no matter what happens around you. This is what we're going to break down today on The Passive Path. By the time we're done, you'll see a clear blueprint to go from struggling with money to building a life where your bank account makes institutions nervous. And it all starts with one simple idea. Stop chasing stuff and start building skills. Most people chase things they can show off. Cars, watches, apartments. It feels good in the moment. But those things don't grow your wealth. They drain it. What actually creates wealth are the skills you invest in. Your ability to create value with your own mind and effort is the engine of every dollar you will ever make. Think about it. A car loses value the moment you drive it off the lot, but a skill that can earn for you every single day for the rest of your life. That's the trade most people miss. So how do you choose the right skill? Start with this question. What are people already paying for right now? Sales, software, AI automation, video editing, financial planning. These are high-value skills. They solve problems that people or businesses face every day. And when you get good at one of them, you become someone who can always find opportunities. The process is simple, but it requires discipline. Step 1, pick one skill. Don't spread yourself thin. Choose the skill that excites you or feels closest to the problems you already see around you. Step 2, commit one focused hour every single day to it. Not scrolling, not dabbling. Deep, focused learning. Step 3, use the tools available to accelerate your path. AI can create a full learning roadmap for free. Type in, build me a step-by-step plan to learn skill X in 90 days with daily lessons under 1 hour. You'll have a personalized curriculum in seconds. Step 4, stick with it for 1,000 days. That's just under 3 years. Not 5 days a week, not when it's convenient. Every single day. Why? Because momentum is contagious. When you show up for yourself every day, you build proof that you can keep promises to yourself. And that proof builds unstoppable confidence. Think about it this way. If you start today, by this time 3 years from now, you could be one of the best in your city at a high-value skill. That makes you dangerous, in a good way. It makes you someone who can't be ignored, someone who can charge for the value they create. And unlike stuff you buy, nobody can take that away from you. So let's make this personal. Which skill would change your life the most if you mastered it? Is it learning to close deals that bring in 6 figures for a company? Is it mastering AI tools that replace hours of manual work? Is it building financial literacy so you can invest wisely? Pick one, because that one choice can separate your future from the one you're stuck in now. The fastest way to go broke is to chase what looks good. The fastest way to get rich is to chase what makes you valuable. Skills create wealth. Stuff consumes it. Now, once you've built the right skill, the next step is turning that skill into actual income. And that doesn't happen by selling random products. It happens when you start solving real problems. Most people think they need to build the perfect product before they can succeed. That mindset keeps them broke. Because money doesn't flow to products, it flows to solutions. People don't care about what you've built. They care about whether you can take away a problem they're dealing with right now. Think about a drill. Nobody walks into a hardware store excited to own a drill. They want a hole in the wall. If someone could sell the hole itself, nobody would ever buy the tool. That's the difference between focusing on your product and focusing on the customer's problem. The fastest way to figure this out is to ask, what problem are people already paying to solve? Are they paying someone to mow their lawn? Are they paying someone to clean their house? Are they paying for help with marketing, tax prep, or bookkeeping? That's where the money is. Because when someone already spends money to fix a problem, it means the pain is real. Let's make this practical. Say you're good with numbers. Instead of offering financial spreadsheets, focus on solving the headache of I can't keep track of my expenses. That's the problem. And when you solve that, you can charge based on the outcome, not on the hours. If your system saves someone $10,000 a year in wasted spending, charging $1,000 makes sense. They're still up $9,000. That's why results sell, not effort. This works across every industry. A dog walker isn't selling 30 minutes of walking. They're selling peace of mind for the owner who doesn't want their pet stuck inside. A mechanic isn't selling 3 hours of labor. They're selling a working car that gets you to work on time. When you think like this, you stop being just another provider. You become the person who solves the problem. And that's where people are willing to pay more. If you want to turn your skill into income, start asking these questions. What problem do I see again and again in the market? What are people already paying for? How can I deliver a better, faster, or more affordable solution? When you find that overlap, you've got the foundation for a profitable business. Here's the truth. I started more than 10 companies before anything worked. Every single failure had one thing in common. I was building for me, not for the customer. The moment I shifted to solving real problems, the game changed. Revenue became predictable, growth became possible, and suddenly, people wanted what I offered, instead of me begging them to try it. So here's your next step. Stop thinking about what you want to sell. Start thinking about the pain you can remove for someone else. Because every dollar you'll ever make comes from a problem you've solved. And once you know how to solve problems, the next level is figuring out how to solve them at scale. That's where leverage comes in. Working harder is not the answer. If hard work alone created wealth, roofers and construction workers would be billionaires. The truth is, wealth comes from leverage. Leverage is how you multiply your impact without multiplying your hours. There are 4 main forms of leverage: tools, capital, systems, people. When you learn to combine these, you escape the trap of trading time for money. Let's break it down. Tools are anything that lets you do more with less effort. In today's world, that often means technology. Think about AI tools that generate content, manage data, or automate customer service. A single tool can replace dozens of hours of manual work. If you're ignoring them, you're leaving money on the table. Capital is another powerful form of leverage. Money itself can work for you. Investments, ad spend, or even smart financing can accelerate growth in ways no single person can. The wealthy don't just earn money, they put it to work. When your dollars create more dollars, you're using capital as leverage. Systems are your next level. Habits work for individuals. Systems work for businesses. A checklist, a documented process, or an automated workflow is a system. Systems make sure things happen the right way, every time, without you having to be there. That's how businesses scale. Because people may come and go, but systems stay, and then there are people. No matter how skilled you are, your time is capped. But when you train, delegate, and lead, you create leverage through others. Your role becomes building the people, and the people build the business. That's how companies grow far beyond the effort of any single founder. Here's a practical first move. Figure out what your time is worth. If your target is $100,000 a year, that's about $50 an hour. So every task worth less than that should be outsourced, automated, or delegated. You cannot build $1 million life by spending hours on $10 tasks. Start buying back your time and reinvest it into the activities that generate real returns. Think of a small business owner running everything alone. They answer calls, clean the office, and manage payroll. They're exhausted. Now compare that to an owner who hires an assistant, automates payments, and uses AI to handle scheduling. Same business, but one is stuck at the limit of their hours. The other is free to focus on growth. That's the power of leverage. And here's the key. You don't need to do more. You need to do less, but with greater impact. Because leverage isn't about working faster. It's about working smarter by shifting the weight onto tools, capital, systems, and people. That's how you create results that look impossible from the outside. So now you've built skills. You're solving real problems, and you've learned to multiply your results through leverage. The next challenge is making sure you're focused on the right numbers. Because what you measure will determine how far you go. Most people measure the wrong things. They track numbers that make them feel busy, not numbers that make them wealthy. That's why focus is everything. The right metric can guide an entire business. The wrong one can keep you spinning in circles. Every successful business has one number that matters more than the rest. It could be revenue per customer. It could be profit per project. It could be lifetime value per subscriber. The point is, when that number goes up, everything else improves. That's the number you need to obsess over. Take a media company. Instead of tracking views or likes, they might focus on revenue per follower, because a follower represents commitment. If that number grows, and each follower becomes more valuable, the business is moving in the right direction. Another example could be a small service business. Their one metric might be referrals per customer. If each customer brings in more clients, growth compounds. That number tells the truth about whether people love what you offer. There are 2 kinds of measurements you need to understand: leading indicators and lagging indicators. Leading indicators are inputs. They're the actions you control today. how many calls you make, how many ads you run, how many emails you send. These drive the future results. Lagging indicators are outputs. Revenue, profit, customers gained. They show up later, based on the actions you took earlier. If you track both, you can see the full picture. But if you only track results, you'll always feel behind. Here's another layer most people miss. Every important outcome needs one owner. Not a department, not a team. One person. This is called a direct responsible individual. When someone knows their name is on the result, accountability goes up, and accountability drives action. It turns vague goals into real progress. Think about your own work. Are you tracking numbers that truly move the needle? Or are you chasing vanity metrics that don't change your bottom line? Because data only matters if it helps you make better decisions. And better decisions are what create wealth. Here's the mindset shift. Don't try to manage everything. Identify the 5% of numbers that drive 95% of your results. Focus on those. Ignore the rest. Because spreading your attention thin is the fastest way to stall growth. When you know what to measure, everything else gets easier. Your priorities get clear. Your team knows where to aim. And progress stops being random. It becomes predictable. You've built skills. You've solved problems. You've used leverage. And now you're measuring the right numbers. But there's still one last barrier to wealth that breaks the bank. It's waiting for permission. Too many people are waiting for permission. Permission from a boss. Permission from a family member. Permission from society. They're waiting for someone else to say, "You're ready." That moment never comes. The people you admire didn't wait. They started before they felt qualified. Every entrepreneur who built something big faced the same fear. They didn't know if they were prepared. They didn't know if it would work, but they acted anyway. And action is what separates winners from dreamers. Here's the hard truth. No one believes in you until you win. So the only way forward is to move without permission. When you feel called to build something, that call itself is the qualification. You don't need more. You just need to act. Here's a method to break through. Write down the thing you've been avoiding because you don't feel ready. Break it into one small next step. Not 10 steps. Just one. Then do it before your brain talks you out of it. That first action creates momentum. And momentum makes the next step easier. This is how big goals are built. Not in one leap, but in daily moves that add up. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll be waiting forever. If you move now, you start building proof that you can handle more than you thought. Think about how this plays out in real life. Someone wants to start a business but feels underqualified. They wait for years, hoping for the right time. Meanwhile, another person starts messy. They make mistakes. They learn. And in those same years, they're already profitable while the first person is still waiting. This applies to investing too. You don't wait until you know everything about the stock market. You start with one small trade. You don't wait until you know every law about real estate. You buy a small property, learn, and grow. Action builds knowledge faster than study ever will. The people who move first are the people who get ahead, not because they're smarter, but because they refuse to let fear hold the steering wheel. They choose to act when others hesitate. And that decision compounds just like money does. So here's your challenge. Stop waiting. Stop looking for a green light from someone else. Step into the bigger game you've been avoiding. Because wealth doesn't come from playing small. It comes from going all in, solving bigger problems, and refusing to stay on the sidelines. You've seen the path now. Build skills instead of chasing stuff. Solve problems instead of selling random products. Use leverage instead of only labor. Measure the numbers that actually matter. And stop waiting for permission to play big. This is how you build wealth strong enough to make your bank look twice. Not overnight. Not without effort. But with a clear path you can follow starting today. The question is, what will you do with it? If this gave you a new way to think about money and growth, make sure to like this video. Subscribe to The Passive Path for more strategies on building financial freedom, and drop a comment sharing the one skill you'll focus on next. Your future wealth is waiting on the other side of that decision. Take the step now, and share this video with someone you care about, because the people closest to you deserve this knowledge too. I wish you the best of luck as you take these steps forward. If you're ready for more, check out the other videos here on The Passive Path. I'll see you in the next one.